Hello, hello. Welcome to the Universe is Ours podcast. I'm very excited for today's episode. We have a special guest, Samantha Dreiling, and I'm your host, Ryan Kempt, and I'm here with my co-host, Alistair.
Haberfield. Great to be here.
Amazing. So for those that don't know Sammi, she is an entrepreneur, she's a mother, she's an author, and she just is on a mission. She lives in truly alignment, if I do say so myself. She's a leader. She shines her light so bright. And helps others, myself included, shine theirs. So I'm so happy to have her on and have her as a friend and a mentor in my life.
Oh, thank you. I love you. I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, great to have you on.
Yeah. Did you want to share a little bit about yourself, Sammi?
Yeah. Well, gosh, where do I even start? I mean, I've been on this journey of the universe is ours, embracing my power and learning and remembering my power, and then going out and sharing that message and trying to remind and help others remember their true power and their connection and their alignment that they always have access to, that we've somehow all kind of forgotten. That started for me about at the age of 17. So I'm 32 now. So it's been quite a long journey. But basically at 16, 17, I was the regular grumpy, kind of bitchy teenage girl that only wanted to hang out with my friends and, didn't really want to be happy. You kind of are overwhelmed with hormones and changes and societal pressures to fit in and all of that stuff. And one night my mom said, "We are having a family movie night, whether you like it or not, put your little butts down, and we're watching this movie called The Secret." And I was like, no, Mom, I'm going out with my friends. I'm not watching some stupid movie, especially not a documentary. And at the same time, the friends I was supposed to hang out with called and canceled. So I was stuck watching movie night with my family with a, mad smirk on my face and my arms crossed and totally closed off. And within 90 minutes, my life was literally changed. I realized that I was attracting everything into my life and that I had so much more power than I had realized, and literally could pinpoint why everything in my life was the way that it was because of what I was focusing on, because of what I was speaking, and good and bad. And I could literally trail it back like to childhood. And so I'm not even kidding. Like, I was a different person after those 90 minutes. But, a lot of people watch that movie and it's a great introduction to the law of attraction and, spirituality and with science in there. But it's also just kind of the starting point. And some people might watch that and be like, okay, cool. And then fall back into the same patterns really quickly. But for me, it was a complete transformation. Like, I was obsessed. I wanted to know everything I could about the law of attraction. I wanted to know everything I could about the universe. I wanted to know who I was and what I was capable of. It was like literally the doors opened up in my life. And I got introduced to Abraham Hicks, which was kind of that next level of teaching of the law of attraction. And that really, I loved that. And I listened every single day for like the last 14 years. And I actually just went last weekend to finally see Abraham Hicks in a live setting. And it was so freaking amazing. Like, I just was like, this is life. This is it.
That's so exciting.
And I slowly started to change my life, and I'm not saying that it was just everything was just amazing right away, and also I'm not saying that there's no challenges or hardships or traumas that come, but giving myself the tools to navigate those things and being able to quickly or quicker come to a higher perspective of what's going on and how to shift my emotions or reactions or intentions around life to then want to be the creator of my life and not the recipient of whatever circumstances seem to be the reality right now from my perspective or my perception. So it literally was 10 years and more of changing things, going from kind of toxic relationships and not having self-worth and not having very good jobs that I loved to becoming a full-on entrepreneur, working for myself since I was 19, starting a makeup academy, having my wellness business in social marketing, growing that to the very top 1% level over the 10 years that followed. And then writing a book, attracting my soulmate, having 2 amazing, healthy baby girls, moving many, many times over different countries and states, and now building our, for now, dream home and living in it, and then totally reinventing ourselves again and starting a product company in the functional mushroom world, and writing and publishing my first book. So it's been an incredible journey, but it really all started with that seed that was planted that made me remember, even if it was just for a few moments, that we are so much more than we're led to believe, and we have so much more power than we think. And that was the inspiration and empowerment that I needed to always focus on becoming the best version of me that is like this beautiful, never-ending unfold. And also by being that example, intending to help others remember and inspire them to do the same.
Wow.
That's so beautiful.
Sorry, that was like the shortest way I could tell a long story.
I've just got more questions.
We'll just end it there. That was really great. It's so beautiful. I was like captivated.
Oh, good.
So you talked about the seed that was planted and then kept you going through the years. Were there any other big moments through that? However long it's been since? How long did you say it was? 17 years or something since?
I guess probably 15-ish. Yeah, 15, around there. 14, 15 years. Yeah. Other big moments of like shifts, you mean? Or?
Well, so the things I've been through, there's always been you'll have one realization, but then you can get caught up in doing other things, but then you get another big thing that'll impact you and remind you and almost build on that. So what those things for you?
Yeah, so the one that comes up in my mind right away is when I was going for my promotion to the top of our company. When you're focused on the numbers for 10 years that are 4 times higher than the numbers that you're currently doing, and that's at every single level, it feels like you can really get into that logical, systematic, like realistic side where you just don't see how it's going to happen and how like quickly it could change. And so I had kind of said, I'm going to make my last promotion this month. And I had no idea how that was going to happen. And I ended up having a conversation with somebody, and she was asking me for spiritual advice. And she had actually promoted to that top level within 4 months. And I had been in the business for 10 years. And so she's asking me for advice. And then I just say to her, bro, like, I'm stuck. Like, how did you get to this level in 4 freaking months? And she said to me, which literally was what I was teaching her about, it's just so ironic, right? She said to me, dude, what? Like, you're the one who's teaching me this. You just place your order with the universe and it happens. Like, you don't go checking on your food when you order it at a restaurant. Like, you know it's coming. And it was like, whoosh, like, oh yeah, like I've overcomplicated it because I've been so attached to the physical of the numbers and the orders and how and all of that stuff that creates resistance, which is really what's going to stop your manifestation, instead of remembering that it's really that simple. And so that day I was just so inspired. Like, I called my top leaders and I was like, this is so simple. Like, this is the conversation I just had. And like, we've just forgotten how simple it is. We just put our request in with the universe. And that month was insane. It was like 2 days later, it was like, that was halfway through the month. So 2 days later was our big global conference and we had a huge product launch. And we literally, so I think I had never hit $100,000 in sales in a month, but I had hit like 80 and 90 each month for a long time. And a few days, so I think we were at like maybe 30,000 in the first half of the month. And then in 2 days, we were at 60 some thousand. So like we had doubled what we had done in the first 2 weeks in 2 days. And then we had like another week and a half and we ended that month. So I'd never hit over 100,000. We ended that month at $200,000 in sales. Wow. And it was just like, what the heck? Like, how did this even happen? And, you know, looking back, it's like there was definitely parts, like physical aspects that helped create that. And there was a huge boom and it was during the pandemic. And there was like a lot of businesses were having those huge influxes of sales because of like this economy stimulating. But that's like the logical mind trying to like explain it. I know deep down that it was like my energetic decision that created that. And it was really cool. And it was crazy because all my team succeeded too. Like everyone had their biggest month ever and everyone was like so excited and had their biggest paychecks. And it was really that demonstration of like, when you step into your power, like, and you step into your decision, that creates a positive ripple effect around you for others. And we just had so much fun. Like, it was just so cool to see, asking yourself like, or asking the universe, like, me and my friend Momo, she's the one that's from the UK. We play this game where we'll text each other, like, wouldn't it be nice if blah, 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 and we'll just like say something awesome that we want. And then we'll just expand on it to each other. Like, wouldn't it be nice if, whatever, like something crazy. And then we'll just expand on it and go back and forth. Or being able to say things like, wow, like, what else? You know, okay, universe, like, this is great. What else? Or how could it get better than this? Or, you know, show me better than this. Or like, I love this. Being like reveling in the goodness and the excitement and the satisfaction and the joy and the bliss of whatever is right now that you can feel that emotion about is going to grow it. So that's really what that was for me. And it was so fun. So that was like definitely a big reminder. It was just that one conversation in that split second that it was like just whooshed over me. The same feeling of when I first watched The Secret and realized the power that I had.
Yeah.
That we all have.
Yeah, and I think that it's such a beautiful thing because you said stepping into your power and your frequency was just an all-time high of abundance instead of that lack and logical mind that you were saying. Yeah. And then that overflows to everybody that was around you and on your team. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I think there's a time and a moment where you have to make the decision that you're giving yourself permission to dream and you're giving yourself that permission to just say what if, like with your friends, the game that you play with your friend, that could easily just be like, wouldn't it be nice to have like food ordered right now? Like you could play small or you can decide
exactly
big and
absolutely
have that vision.
Yeah. And even starting where you believe, right? Where you like, oh, well, that could happen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then going from there, because sometimes people have a hard time manifesting or intending or focusing on something that feels so big, because your mindset that it's so big is keeping you away from it. But if you start with, that's why in The Secret they say, like, start with a cup of coffee. I try to attract a cup of coffee today, because people can start there and be like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if someone brought me a cup of coffee today? And then boom, you go to work and this person walks in with a cup of coffee for you. But it's just enough for you to be like, whoa, that worked. And I've really dove into the science behind that as well. And it's all about your reticular activating system, which is like your filter in your brain. So if you say, so like, for example, in my company, when you get to a certain level, you get a white Mercedes, you get a bonus toward a white Mercedes. So when I first started, it's like you never really noticed white Mercedes. But now, because I've said, oh my God, that's my goal, that's a symbol of success for me, I want to get there, now I notice white Mercedes everywhere, right? Or for somebody else, it might be, I don't know, somebody who's successful at e-commerce or something. And now every time someone posts about their success in e-commerce, they're noticing those posts. Or it could be like a dog, you really want a certain type of dog, and now all of a sudden everywhere you're seeing this type of dog. And it's because you've told your brain what's important, and because we wouldn't be able to take in all the information we get every day. So you program your mind, right, to say, this is what I want, this is important to me. So a lot of people are going through their life on autopilot, where they're not setting the destination, right? You get into your car and you haven't put a destination in the GPS, and you're just kind of like, yeah, we'll see where I end up, but you're kind of driving around in circles. I think it's important to set the destination, but then to be open to the adventure of how you're going to get there. And there might be twists and turns, and there might be obstacles, and the universe might deliver a path that's better than what you can logically plan to get to that destination, or you also say this destination or better. And then you're kind of opening up to also not limiting what the universe could bring you for your experience.
So I think you've hit on two things that I see, and those people that just go through life being busy and don't really have a destination, but then and they don't necessarily manifest anything. But then there's also the people that manifest something like a new car or whatever, but they don't really have a destination that they're going to.
Right. And I think that all depends on, like, I've even heard a lot lately about specific and non-specific manifestors in human design. And I think that what it really ties down to, and like whatever you believe is what you're gonna attract. So I think that what it comes down to is your resistance. If you don't have resistance to something, then it can easily flow to you. So if someone doesn't have any resistance to attracting a new car, it's going to come to them. But if you have resistance, so that's why sometimes to be really specific is going to work for your manifestation, because you don't have any resistance to that. But sometimes when you're really specific, you do have a resistance to that, and being more general and being focused on anything else really that puts you in the emotion of alignment and joy and abundance, that is what's going to actually attract you that thing. So it's I think that like focusing too much on the titles, or like the labels, it's not actually about that. It's about what your belief is and what your resistance level is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and maintaining a certain level of focus. I know sometimes when I've done manifestation, it felt like I did it for so long that I'm like, I'm just writing lines at this point, and not having that energy to back it up. So being able to switch it up with like a vision board, or maybe you have that vision isn't big enough anymore and you need to spice it up and get more specific on it, or have it flow, like you just allow, you have a goal, but you're not writing it down every time, or every morning. And then that's when like a lot of non-specific manifestors can manifest things, because they're letting go of that control and that like this is mine, it's like, no, it's already mine, instead of
I like to call that maniforcing.
That's great. That's so great.
It doesn't work as well as manifesting. Guys, I really need to find a charger because my computer's gonna die.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Can we pause for a second? You can edit this.
Right, can you your music was loud at one point. I don't know if you could turn it down a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it weird seeing me in your house? Oh, well, you're not here.
It's actually good hearing the mic, and the mic is pretty loud.
I'll be right back, guys.
No
1
worries.
sec.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I'm like, that book selection in the background needs some editing.
The egg is really...
Yeah, don't you be touching that. I got one here as well.
Wow. I got these little bunnies at Eternal Abundance yesterday, and they were like dried raspberries and decadent chocolate on the outside.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So good. I had a question. I'm going to write it down so I don't
You
forget.
can ask a question next, because I've asked a couple.
Need to write down the time.
Well, it should be in the transcript as well.
Yeah.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can she hear us? I don't think she can hear us. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
What happened?
So many tech issues.
Seriously.
No, it's not working.
Oh, the sun came out. That's strange. We could stop and come back in if we need be, or if you want to try that.
Wait, I don't think she can hear you, can she?
Oh.
No. So plug it in. What if you unplug the laptop or the charger to whatever you're... But then she can't hear me, can
I
she?
think that was just for... Your message.
Nothing worse than being silenced on a podcast.
In such flow, too.
Literally just denied. What time did we stop record, like, chatting?
What time did we
What
start?
time did we stop?
Oh, it was 11:51.
You've probably already done like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You-
I need to...
Are we writing notes about what we've discussed? Manifesting is on there.
You're always thinking about those show notes.
Yeah, because they're so hard to write after the fact. I've lost my pen. Where's my pen gone?
Hi.
Wow.
We're just making glitches in the matrix.
Is it because we're meant to finish the end of the episode, like, just pretend that Sammy's there and just building on what she said last?
I had a nice question though.
A nice question.
I liked it. The question I have.
I think we should have a standard question for our guests to end on.
Yeah. I've tried to tell you this.
No, you haven't. You haven't mentioned that once.
Yeah, because remember I was like, I want something in every episode that like is like we ask the guests and it's like, what are you grateful for today or something?
No,
and
that's
you
with
hated
that. You killed it with that.
And then we had a discussion and I'm pretty sure we found it and we haven't been implementing it. Something about like consciousness or like the universe.
I mean, I could have just said that, like, obviously.
Yeah, see, she texted me. She could just join on her phone for the last bit.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with going on the phone. I need to get dinner soon.
What time is it?
8 p.m.
8. Is it late to eat? I've been like eating and not getting hungry.
I've been like that for weeks.
I weighed myself today. Guess what number it was?
Irrelevant. 222 kilos.
You're hilarious.
What'd you say?
She's gonna switch computers. Wait, let's figure out this question. So, the universe is ours because you are the universe and the universe is you. How do you allow the universe to channel through you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How do you connect to the universe?
How do you connect with the universe and inwardly or outwardly? Like, how do you? There we go.
Maybe it's like one tip for our viewers to connect with the universe.
Oh, I like that. I think that's what it was. I admitted her. She's not popping up. Okay.
Wow, it works.
Okay, hold on. See if I can get my Bluetooth on now. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Why do you need your Bluetooth on? We can already hear you.
Sorry?
We can already hear you. You don't need your Bluetooth. Don't do anything else.
Okay. Let's do this.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. I have a couple questions. Well, like I think we both have like one or two more questions, and then you've been like a incomplete flow though. It's so amazing to watch.
That's how it goes. Sometimes it's okay.
Yeah, one time you said just trust that. Before you get on a call, you just trust that what's meant to flow is going to flow and what they're meant to hear and understand from you will be received. And I still use that.
I do too. Yes. Even for this.
Yes.
Even with the technical difficulties.
Yes. I was just saying that we're just creating glitches in the matrix. So
It's like, I'm going to try to stop you.
yeah, we're just shifting, the parallel dimensions. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're still recording. We're good. You can hear us.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So my question for you was kind of throughout your whole journey, was there a moment of time where you were like, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for my life, these are my goals and dreams, and then it shifted to like, I want to help other people, I want to do this so that I can make an impact on them, or kind of was it always there?
So even when I first started, I started sharing on Facebook, which I can still go back and find this. Every single day I would wake up, I would get on Facebook, not first thing, but I would get on there and I would post an inspirational quote every single day. And my friends at the time would laugh at me and tease me and comment like, oh, like you're trying to be some motivational speaker, Sammi, and like mock me. And within a few months of consistently doing that, I had hundreds of new friends and followers and whatever that would literally comment every day and like it every day and message me saying how much inspiration and positivity my daily quotes were bringing to their day and their life. And so I think that as soon as I learned, I always felt the need to share something. And pretty quickly I did. There was not a lot of like teachers. I mean, Instagram was just starting at the time. So, and Instagram was also very different back then. Like it was very much inspirational quotes and positivity and healthy lifestyle and connecting with others that were into the same things. Like it was a very positive place, at least in my experience at that time. So I pretty quickly started to do daily videos on Instagram. And, at that time, there were only 15 seconds long. And it's funny because I'm like, gosh, if I had just kept doing that until now, I would be like the real star of Instagram, but I didn't. But I did do it for probably 2 or 3 years straight, where I would like do a little 15 to 30 second. I think I remember when it opened up to doing 30 seconds instead of 15 seconds, little videos. And it would be like, the universe is yours, and here's how the law of attraction works in 15 seconds. Like it would be really like little blips of inspiration. And if you can actually stalk me and scroll back really far on my Instagram and find those videos and find like really how I started. And I attracted at that time so many amazing friends and people that wanted to know about the law of attraction. And I had already almost positioned myself as a teacher of that like whole world without even trying. Like it was just, I wasn't huge. I didn't have like, 1 million followers or anything, but I grew to 10,000 followers, which was like a big deal at that time, pretty quickly, just from posting those daily videos. And it was very different from all the photos that were on Instagram. But I did post like quotes and stuff like that too, and healthy food and lifestyle. But like what I was really known and followed for was posting those videos. So I think I always did want to share with people, just because it was so mind-blowing to me that nobody knew this. Like none of us knew how powerful we are. It's like we all come into this body like, and we like agree to forget who we are so that we can go on this journey every lifetime to like remember who we are, and then expand consciousness. Like that's kind of how I see it. And when I was at Abraham this last weekend, they were saying that too. They were like saying how you come here because it's the leading edge of turning thoughts into things, and kind of how when we're not in a body, because I believe that we are souls, and when we're not in a body or on earth, it's great. It's all you feel is love and bliss and all of the things that you truly are made of. Every single human, every single soul, that's what we are truly made of. But there's no contrast. There's no physical. And so I've heard also from a lot of, after my dad passed away, I started really looking into near-death experiences and trying to like feel that higher perspective on death. And it's so cool to hear these people's stories who were literally, their body was physically dead for sometimes, 15 minutes. Sometimes I think there was one that was like an hour. And then they come back to their body and they have these incredible experiences that they talk about. And they talk about that, you are, all of the darkness and negativity and all of that is just an illusion created by the mind on earth. That's not part of any of us. It doesn't actually exist. But they all talked about, many of them said things like, your soul literally lines up and like is knocking down the door to get back onto earth, because that's where you expand your consciousness. And not just your consciousness, but we're all connected. So it's consciousness in general. And it's because of the material being able to remember who we are and turn those thoughts to things, not from I just want to have all this stuff. That's not what I'm saying at all, but it's remembering your power of being a creator. Like, you are part of the creator, or whatever, however you believe that and want to see that. It's like you're a stream of consciousness that gets to expand the whole of consciousness. And the leading edge is here on earth. And that's really what Abraham was saying. And that just inspires me so much, because it's like, and she says, like, you came here to expand, to explore, to experience things, to have joy, and your contrast, the things that are hard in your life are there because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And so sometimes if it was all just great all the time, then we would be bored and we wouldn't be expanding. So when we have sometimes the contrast, or what we don't want, or we go through a difficult thing, that can also help to propel consciousness even further. So it's just another way of looking at why we're here and why do we come here. And to me, that is really inspiring. And I've always felt that need to like share that with people, because we've forgotten, like, we come here and we've forgotten. And that's really like what my book is all about. It's Awaken Your Inner Goddess, tailored more to women, but it's really for anybody, because it's about, the goddess is like the archetype or the personification of your highest self, which is your soul, but your soul in a way that your consciousness here on earth can portray it as the best version of you. And so it's all about remembering who you are and getting aligned with your true self, and then going out in the world. And then that divine feminine aspect, which again is like represented by the goddess archetype that I talk about so much, is also the balance that needs to come onto the planet through every single one of us, of going with the flow more, of letting go of the control, like you talked about, Ryan, like letting go of trying to like systematically plan it. Even that lesson for me when I was doing that promotion, of going from the logical and the numbers and the system and the plan to being like, I fully let it go and surrender, and I just trust this is going to happen, and I'm just going to have fun and be in my bliss. And boom, it happens. That's also the lesson that I teach in here of your divine feminine, that everyone has. It's just that energy of kind of the higher perspective. And I feel like our planet has been very much run in the human masculine, which again, this doesn't have to do with genders, but it's just the more logical, systematic, money control. Like, that's what that card talked about, right? Of like, there has to be a new way of power and control versus just I want to have the control and have all the money and have the power over more people. Like that is the old way, and that's not going to work. And by more of us tuning into our empathy and our compassion and our intuition and remembering that we're all connected and remembering our power and being creative and going with the flow and reconnecting to Mother Earth and nature, that is going to change the world. And that's like really what my message is now. I mean, there's so much more to it, but like there's so many levels I could talk about it on, but that's really what I believe would shift things, is more people doing this kind of work to help people remember and use those tools of remembering who they are and letting go of kind of the paradigms that we've been in for so long that are no longer serving our expansion, if that makes sense. But it still is, because it's still the contrast. So it's like a whole duality thing, right?
Sammi, you're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
I did have one question related to everything you just said. So when people are starting out on that creator journey and they have like those people that were laughing at you for posting the quotes, how do you deal with that and progress through that to that high level?
Well, I think it's realizing that everyone is doing the best they can with what they know. And like we've already talked about, everyone's forgotten who they are. So there's an airplane. I hope you guys can't hear it too loud. They're really loud here. It's realizing that, it's like the quote that hurt people. It's like that's a whole nother chapter in my book, is about the generational trauma and patterns that are passed down so unconsciously. And even like emotional entanglement that's passed down or that's felt through siblings or parent to child or loved ones or friends. Like we are empathetic, emotional, and energetic beings. And so we don't really realize how impacted people who haven't done the work or don't even know that they can do the work to heal their patterns, their generational pass downs that were unconscious as well. And so a lot of the times it's only a reflection of their own insecurity, right? I know now that by putting myself out there and being vulnerable and, trying to be inspiring to somebody, it puts me on the ledge, if you will, for judgment and criticism. But when somebody actually takes that on and judges me and criticizes me, that's because I'm making them feel uncomfortable about themselves stepping out of their comfort zone and doing something courageous that maybe feels vulnerable to them. So it's really their defense mechanism of trying to feel safe from not doing what I'm doing. And it has nothing to do with you. And sometimes when you're in that and you have those people, it's really hard to get to that place because people's words hurt. But we really have to remember that it has nothing to do with you. It is their reflection of them. And your job is also not to go and change the world and like save people and change all these people. That's not your job. That's not on your shoulders. A lot of us too that are in this work or in this world, like we put the world on our shoulders, and that's not really helping us either. The best thing that we can do is be the most aligned, unapologetic, joyful, happy version of ourselves that we can be at this moment. Do that hard inner deep work on ourselves, do that healing, do that generational trauma releasing and forgiveness, and be an example. And what I've found over the years is, and I can round this back together, a lot of those same people that were, teasing me at the beginning or judging me or wanted nothing to do with what I was talking about or even deleted and blocked me or whatever, were the same people or in the same groups of people that 10 years down the road, when I get to the top 1% of the company, are like, you're the most successful person I know, and you're so inspiring, and I knew you could do it. And so again, it doesn't, you can't let their words matter. And that's like a whole nother topic that could be a whole nother episode, that I believe like comes down to the root of everything, is loving and accepting yourself fully. Because when you love and accept yourself fully, you don't care what anyone else thinks, and you're not looking for validation or approval or trying to fill any empty spaces with anything outside of yourself. And that's a huge shift that most people haven't even really begun to kind of tap into. And so for me, the journey was also this 10, 12-year journey, and it's not over. It's always evolving, right? Because there's new challenges that come up, but of fully loving and accepting myself, my past, where I've been, where I am, where I'm going, and not trying to fill any lack within me with either a title or amount of money or a partner or whatever. Because when you do that, you're giving your power to them. Because if they don't like you back right now, or if they choose somebody else, or if you don't hit that title, or whatever the case is, you are literally telling yourself that I'm not good enough and I'm not complete. And that will keep you away from everything that you want and everything that you truly are. So like, that is the bigger journey of fully loving and accepting yourself. So not only does that now set you free from what they are saying and looking for that validation or approval, but it also makes you this lighthouse for others, and sharing the journey of falling in love with yourself, fully accepting everything that you are and everything that you've been through, and forgiving everyone in your life, and including yourself. Literally, you're unstoppable. Like, there's nothing that can get in your way when you get to that place. And that's what everyone is truly looking for. So you're now the lighthouse to guide others on that journey. And that is such a freaking gift and power.
So you being a lighthouse, Sammi, what's the one tip you would give to people for them to connect to the universe when they're starting out on this journey?
Okay, so I have a video on YouTube. It's the only video I have on my channel still, because it was from a long time ago, and it's how to feel energy. And I think it's a great place to start, because a lot of people don't understand energy, even though it's literally what everything is made up of. So you guys can do it with me right now. If you put your hands like this, okay, start like really close together. And so you're kind of making a ball. Can you feel like almost like a magnetic pull, tingling? Sometimes it's warmth. So that is the energy that you have. And you can intend with your mind, imagine it getting stronger like a magnet. Okay. And then as you grow it, you can like almost grow it like you're growing like a ball or a balloon. You can make it bigger and bigger and bigger, just with your intention. You can feel it fully in your hands. Like, it is so cool, right? Okay. And so now when you have your ball of energy that's strong enough, what I recommend you do is hold it over your head. Hold it over your head, and then push it down your spine. Did you guys feel anything down your spine?
Yeah, definitely.
That is so cool to me. And I think that that's a great place for people to start, just to believe that they have the power of moving and feeling energy. Then what I would say is the best technique that I have found, that I've worked on again for so many years through meditation, is to, a lot of people too, they say, I can't meditate, I can't clear my mind. That's not the purpose of meditation. You don't have to clear your mind. You're going to have thoughts that come in. But it's more about starting to realize, number one, you're not your thoughts. right? They're not necessarily you, like they are a program that you've had over your life. And so it's, instead of being absorbed in the thoughts and being part of the thoughts, to slow down and kind of separate yourself to be the observer of the thoughts and kind of seeing them as like clouds floating by. And instead of being so emotionally attached to those thoughts and triggered by them, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Just observing them. And so just sitting in silence and listening. And eventually, as those thoughts start to float by and you're not getting your emotionally, reaction to those, as they start to float by, what I like to imagine is the same way we put the balloon of energy at the top, through the top of our head. I like to imagine a little like hole coming open on the top of my head, and this protected funnel opening up to only my highest and greatest good. So I call it source. You could call it God, your stream of God, whatever that is to you. And I like to intend that it's only my highest good, right? And that it's protected. I don't want to open it up to everything, because then now I'm just having everyone else's stuff come in. But I'm really focusing on opening it up. And what I can do very quickly now, after a lot of practice, is I can literally, I sit with my palms open, because that's the receiving mode, is I just go, okay, I just take some deep breaths. And I can feel it open at the top of my head, and I can feel source start coming through. And you can use a mantra. So another thing that I do because of my book, which is idea. Dia is the Latin word for goddess. So it's changing the idea of who you are and becoming the goddess, Dia. So a lot of meditation practices use a mantra. So you could close your eyes and say, source, 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 source. Or you could say Dia, 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 Dia. That's kind of what I do, because then I'm calling that in my mental mind and my energetic mind and my spiritual mind, I'm clarifying what I want to come through, and that's my greatest and highest good, which I call Dia. So I can do Dia, 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 Dia. And I can start to feel that coming through, going through. You can start to feel the energy going through your body. Again, this might take practice, coming down your spine and taking over it. And then I just listen. It's not always asking for things. It's being in gratitude. It's reveling in very small things, like a beautiful bird outside your window, or a flower blooming, or the grass blowing in the wind, or like the more you can get out into nature too, that makes such a huge difference. And just letting that source take over your body, and then you feel energy throughout your body. And to me, that's called plugging in. And I always say, like, we plug in our phones every night, and it's a priority for us to plug in our phones, but are we plugging in ourselves? And a lot of us are walking around with no battery left, and we're wondering why we're not happy, and we're not fulfilled, and we're tired, and we're, all those things. And so just that, even if it's for 5 minutes, just plugging yourself into your source, I think makes such a huge difference. Abraham gives this amazing example where she says that us humans were like, I'm going to vacuum my whole house. I'm going to go over it twice. And you're going. And they're like, yo, you got to plug the vacuum in. And you're like, nope, I don't have time for that. I just need a vacuum. And you're going over it, and nothing is really happening. And it's so much harder to get the house clean when you didn't plug in the vacuum first. So she's like, that's how you guys are going through life when you're not plugging in and you're not, connecting to who you truly are every day. So again, even if you start with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, that's going to start to feel very different. And what starts to happen as you practice that is during your little plug-in moments, your meditation or whatever, you're going to start to receive guidance. So now I am at the point, and I'm not a guru, and I'm not amazing, and I can be getting much better at this, especially since having 2 kids Sometimes I don't do this for a long time. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that at all. But now often I can just get to that place where I'm plugged in for 5 minutes and it's like, oh my God, I have to do this is it. Like, I get all the inspired action ideas. And that's very different than trying to make a list from your mental mind. That's, again, the divine feminine versus the human masculine that we've all been taught. So it's truly transformational. And I think that that's a great place for people to start.
That's so beautiful. I love those practices, and I'll definitely be adding them to mine. Before you had even mentioned it, I was like, when we were talking about, people's words being hurtful, or maybe something happens in your life that would traditionally knock you right off your feet, once you, with every decision that, or every promise that you make to yourself, and you keep to yourself, or anytime you plug in, like you were saying, or anytime you're filling up your cup, you're creating this, like you were using an energy ball, but I've always pictured like an orb, but I like combining the two of just this shield of gold around me. And it's just like things just bounce off. Things can just bounce off you much easier once you're charged up.
Totally. I've been doing that since I was a kid. My mom, I mean, I guess I had started with The Secret, but like really it started long before that. Because when I was a kid, I like thought I could do spells and like literally have magical powers. And like, I thought I was a good witch. And, and like my mom would buy me these little like spell books for kids. And so that taught me how to do like the circle of protection around myself. So I would do that. And now I'm teaching my 5-year-old daughter how to do that. When she's like scared at night, I'm like, okay, what do you do? I said this to her the other day. What do you do? She goes, do my bubble of light. I'm like, yes, girl. Like, so she's learning those practices. It's so cute. And she says cute things like I'm gonna talk to my goddess and like stuff like that is so cute. And she says her church is in her heart because there's a lot of churches over here. And she's like, I want to go to church. And I'm like, your church is in your heart. And so she'll tell people, yeah, your church is really in your heart. It's so beautiful to see kids understanding. Again, I want to instill in my kids that they have the power that they have. And actually last night, I'll tell one more story. And then if you guys have any other questions, that's great. And if not, that's fine too. But last night, my daughter was getting, like, she was getting all riled up before bed. She was kind of getting upset. And she was doing this thing where she goes like this, like, I want to go to sleep. And she makes her body angry, right? And so I started to explain to her, when you do that, your body is telling your brain that you're angry. So now your reticular activating system is going to notice and put in front more things to make you more angry, right? Which is the scientific way of saying the law of attraction. Energetically, you're on a vibration, you're putting yourself on a vibration down here, so you can only receive or interact with other things that are on this vibration. But what's really interesting is your vagus nerve, which is what basically connects your brain and your body. 80% of the signals go from your body to your brain, and only 20% go from your brain to your body. So with the way that you hold your body, what you do with your body is actually 80% of the time versus 20% telling your mind what to think and focus on. And so I was explaining to her that when you make your body mad, you're telling your brain to be more mad. And I started to tell her, you're going to go in a spiral like this, and you're going to go down and down and down and get more mad and more upset. And I said, but what happens when you go like this? And I started smiling really big and like doing funny faces and laughing. And she just literally flipped a switch and she just started laughing and smiling. And I said, now your body is telling your brain that you're happy and that you want to be happy. And now you're going to go in a spiral like this up. And then she just starts like laughing. She was exhilarated by the thought And I was explaining to her that you have so much more power on how you feel, and you can use your body to help tell your mind where you want to go. And she just loved that explanation, and she just went right to sleep. And she was like, and so even this morning when she woke up, I'm like, good morning, girls. And then I start doing the cheesy smile, and they both start smiling, right, really big. And then they start laughing, and I'm like, good, that's how we want to start our day, right? So, just really remembering, even on a biological level, what we're doing, even like our posture, are you planting your feet on the earth? Are you standing tall? Are you standing in a power pose? Are you taking deep breaths? Are you like scrolling on social media all day and comparing yourself negatively to everyone else in the world who's maybe 10 years ahead of you? We don't give ourselves a fair shot, right? So without doing those more mindful practices and understanding how not only our body and our brain works, but then our mind and our consciousness and our souls and all of the other stuff we've already talked about.
I love it. Cheesy smiles all around. It's so special, and it's so beautiful to see, to hear that, the generations it's just going to keep getting better and better, hopefully, as we grow in our consciousness and awakening, and the collective does as well.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I sure hope so.
I know a lot of people say that they worry for the future generations, but I see like these things, like what you're doing with your daughters, and yeah, it's really, I'm excited to see what they can do. I mean, you've been doing what you've been doing since 17, right?
Yeah, I really think that I think that we've only gotten better. I think that the new generation really cares about the planet and about people. And I think that they're going to I think that every generation kind of helps to reprogram and level up. I think we've been on an upward trajectory, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And sometimes it really doesn't feel like it, but I really think that we are, and that card said something about that, like, even if it doesn't look like the divine plan, like it is the divine plan. And I think that's very true. And I also think that more and more evolved souls that are going to remember sooner their power, and also with people like you guys putting out this information to people and having access all around the world to this kind of information, it can create a very seismic shift within the consciousness across the planet very quickly. And that's really exciting. I hope that I know that will create a ripple effect to the next generations, but I also think that they're already coming in with that heart connection and that understanding way beyond what we even know and understand. So it is exciting, and I have hope for the future for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Sammi. It's been so nice to catch up and hear all the amazing insights and wisdom that you have to share. And
yeah, you got me pumped now, Sammi. Yes, let's go.
Yay! I love it.
So good. So where can everyone find you if they want to connect with you further and find your book?
So I have a few Instagrams. I have Sammi Dreiling, SAMI Dreiling, which is my personal page where I kind of share all the things. And then my book is at Awakening Dia, and my website for that is awakendia.com. So that's where you can learn about my book and any upcoming events and stuff like that. But probably my personal page, Sammi Dreiling, is the best place because I kind of share all my businesses, podcasts that we're about to relaunch, and all of the things. I try to kind of filter everything through there so that my larger audience knows all the things that I'm up to.
I must say, I absolutely loved your book. I think it was such a great read. It was easy for me to read, and I loved that there was like workbook sessions in there to really reflect and take a moment. So if you haven't got it, you should really get it.
Yeah, and then there's also an audio book. Yes, good. There's also an audio book. So if anyone prefers audios, I actually read the audiobook. So it's really fun to do because I'm telling all the stories like from my own experience. There's a few times that I cried and my audio guy had to be like, you have to redo that. They can't hear you because I'm like blubbering. But yeah, I think it's a good audiobook. It's my own, like, it's like I'm hard on myself, right? So I'm like, but I actually think it's a good audiobook. I think it's really a great listen. It's like 6 hours long. So in a few days, you could listen to the whole thing. And it's nice to have that kind of like me telling the stories. So yeah. It's everywhere that you would get audiobooks. It's pretty easy to find. Dia.
Amazing. And your latest venture, something that both Alistair and I are pretty passionate about, is mushrooms. I've found that they've helped me so much with my brain health. So did you want to share a bit about Ananda?
Yeah, sure. So our new company, my husband and I have started just about 3 months ago. It's called Ananda Elixirs. And we have always loved wellness, and we really got into the power of functional mushrooms over the last few years and learning about how they can help your brain and your mood and really just like optimizing wellness and health. And we were taking, we tried many different supplements and basically found that we were just taking more and more capsules of things, and it's just hard to keep track and hard to look forward to taking so many different capsules and supplements. And so we had an inspired idea, same kind of thing that just flows right to you where you're just like, okay. And we actually acted on it. And we created the world's first SuperShroom soda. So it's a soda replacement that's healthy. It's got no sugar. It's got no artificial flavors or colors. It's all natural, all organic ingredients made in small batches. And it's basically a tincture product. So you get a little 2-ounce bottle with 30 servings, and you just put 2 droppers in your sparkling water, and it transforms it into a healthy soda replacement, but you're getting the power of 4 functional mushrooms. So we use turkey tail, which is kind of known as the longevity mushroom. It's that and reishi, which is also great longevity, and both of those have been used for thousands of years in traditional Chinese medicine. But that one's also known in different traditions to be really impactful on your life force energy. So we call it the prana prodigy. And those 2 mushrooms are being used right now in Japan alongside cancer treatment because they're found to really increase your natural killer cells, which would be your kind of front line of battling against cancer cells or other things, and your T cells and all sorts of stuff. So those are definitely powerhouse immune boosters loaded with antioxidants, and a lot of studies coming out about all of these mushrooms, which is really, really cool that, traditional Chinese medicine has been using them for hundreds or thousands of years, and we are just catching up with science. So we've got those 2 mushrooms, and then we have lion's mane, which is being found in studies to actually help with neuroregeneration. So helping your brain actually regenerate, which is crazy. So I know that some people with like traumatic brain injuries, PTSD, like so many things, it's literally helping you to create new connections and wires in your brain, but also like the tissue. So it's really, really, really cool. And we call that the brain booster. And we have a product that's just lion's mane, and it's called the Brain Boost. So that's a really good one. And then we have cordyceps, which is a really cool mushroom that has been linked to increase in cellular energy, and like so many different things, like libido and performance, and like a lot of like sports performance, like stuff like that too. And they all have loads of antioxidants. They're all great for literally your whole well-being. So those are the 4 that we use in the SuperShroom soda. And they're delicious. So we have cream soda, root beer, and lemon lime. And we're about to launch 2 new flavors in the next week or so that are going to be really delicious. So yeah, that's the spiel on
Can you give
Ananda.
a sneak peek on those 2 new flavors?
You can, but you have to follow our Instagram and maybe even go sign up for our newsletter, because we're going to be posting it there first. But we're going to put out some teasers on our Instagram probably this week for the new flavors.
Nice.
Guess what they are, but they're going to be really delicious for summer. So that's at Ananda Elixirs or AnandaElixirs.com.
I'm a massive functional mushroom fan. I've used them for quite a while now, so I'd be keen to try them. Like, where can people find them? Are you just in the US, or are you Canada yet?
So we're technically in the US. However, we do have customers that order and import them in Canada and the UK and Australia. Those have been the main places that have placed orders. The only thing is the shipping is a little bit expensive right now until we were to like actually get proper certifications in those countries and have a distribution center in those countries to be able to ship them out for a lot cheaper. So I think we still have a special where if your order's over like $150, you get a discounted shipping internationally. So that's an option. That would be basically getting 3 bottles. So if you want to try 3 flavors or split an order with a friend, then that's a great way to do it. But yeah, we're technically in the US, but we have shipped out multiple boxes to other countries.
Amazing. I'm so excited to try it. It's going to be so tasty. There's so many great reviews.
So good. Yes. You have to film your reaction, because people are always like blown away with how good it tastes. People just think it's going to taste like mushrooms, and it doesn't. It tastes like soda. It's really good.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again so much, Sammi. It's been such a pleasure.
You too.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yes. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I can't wait to listen to all the episodes of your amazing podcast.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yours is going to be back in action, rebooting, rebranding. So I'll be listening to yours as well.
Yes, I'd love to have you guys on too.
Oh, that'd be so fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Side note, we're running a retreat in May. If you